Yo, so good morning. This is Marks from Marks. So listen up, real quick. Well, I mean, you don't have to listen up. This is my first time going live. I got some time before I actually hit the gym, so I decided to give a shout out to Jasmine Mason. We've been having some great conversation about my research topic, which is what can principals do to positively affect the graduation rate among black boys and um, decrease the achievement gap between black boys and white boys. And Jasmine asks, which is a great question, you know, 2018, black boys should, the achievement gap should be closed at this point. The achievement gap is simply the gap between where black boys graduate and white boys graduate. I think there's about a 30% achievement gap right now. And the sad reality is, that achievement gap is holding steady and even increasing as the years go by. So the question is really, um, is it boys that are the problem, or is it the system? Is it the school system that is the problem, or is it uh, black boys that's the problem? That's really the question. Now, you know, there is because I am in a system. There is a system that will say, you know, well, the boys are the problem. You know, you, because they're in poverty, that means that um, they don't value, or their parents don't value education as much. Those are things that you see in the research. So, well, the SES, the social economic status, that's the reason why black boys are not graduating. But that's correlation and not causation, because for majority of us who were brought up in poverty, um, that isn't the that have high school graduation or that have college education. If that was causation, that means everybody in poverty would not graduate from high school. And as we know, there's over 1 million black boys right now that are in college, and over 2 million black men that are college educated. So poverty is not the causation for why black boys are not graduating from high school. Another thing you see is black boys are suspended 3 times higher than any other group in the country. Um, so, it, yeah, 3 times higher than any other group in the country. But then you also see that actually take place in the judicial system, where you'll see black boys are incarcerated 3 times higher than any other race in the country. So, you know, there's some concerns, but the question still remains: what could administrators do, and what can principals do to affect that graduation rate? Now, the question is, for us that are in the community, say you're a black man and you don't have a black boy, um, can you help this? I mean, you got to think there's young people, if you're a black man, or if you're a white man, or whoever you are, because this is, I think that we get tied up in race a lot, which is something we can see with our physical eyes. But, if you see kids dying before the age of 30, violent deaths, and you see them being incarcerated, black, white, Latino, whoever they are, the humane side of us should want to do something to positively affect that. And you say, well, hey, what could I do? Uh, I'm not in education. I'm not an educator, but you can volunteer your time. You can go into a school and read to students. And I know that with our busy schedules, sometimes it makes it pretty difficult for us to do that. But the reality is, you, you're either gonna, you know, face individuals in when they're in their calm state, or you're gonna see them later, when they're, you know, if they are, if they are pushed out of school and they didn't have anybody to love them, then now they're just trying to do whatever they need to do to be successful or have any remnants of success. And oftentimes, when individuals don't graduate from high school, statistically, they're either, especially for black boys and our Latino boys, they're either violently killed or put in the jail cell. So, to answer Jasmine's questions, who we were having a great conversation, the graduation rate has not decreased at this time, meaning the achievement gap hasn't decreased, and the graduation rate hasn't significantly increased since 1970s, 1980s, and that's, you know, and that's sad, because what's happening is we're producing individuals who aren't prepared for the real world, and you see that through the disproportionality of, or the disproportionate amount of young black boys that are not graduating from high school, and the disproportionate amount that they're being suspended from school. So, and I say black because, you know, we're looking at everybody in the African diaspora. So, you know, for me, I'm Haitian American. Shout out to my Zoes, Sakbase, right? So I wouldn't. Although when I was growing up, we just put African American, but the reality is, you know, we want to look at black because we're looking at Haitian American, African American, Bahamian American, Jamaican American. We're looking at all the young men that are in that category. So, that's my research, and I think that, you know, it's important to me, but it's also important. It's a community issue, and not just for black people, but for white people and Latino people, and for all of us to say, hey, what can we do to positively affect the graduation rate for black boys and all students. So this is Marks from Marks from Marks. I'm out. I got to figure out a way how to end this live and how to put it up. But hey, until next time, peace.